Hey everyone, welcome. We are on day 20 of our 21 days of the Way of Wisdom. Welcome to the LABC Life Podcast. I'm Pastor Chris, and this is Pastor Amy.
Hi, family.
And today we're going to be going through the last chapter of the book of Proverbs.
Wow.
Chapter 31.
Last chapter. This is going to be a two-part podcast because we're going to read the poem of the virtuous woman verse by verse. So it's a little bit longer.
Let's get started.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Proverbs 31. We're going to look at verse 1, just kind of give you a background. Who's writing this chapter?
Okay.
You know, Proverbs, most of it was written by Solomon, and part of it was things that he had gathered, and King Hezekiah had some input. But this chapter, we're looking at a gentleman by the name of King Lemuel. Mm-hmm. And it says that these are the utterances which his mother taught him. Mm-hmm. And I just want to say this before we get started. If you don't know how important what you teach your children is, mm-hmm. then this is a great time to see what you can pass down, the legacy. Mm-hmm. And not just in your own family, but even in the realm of spiritual authority, the people that God's put you on over to be able to speak into their lives.
Yes, it makes a difference.
Yeah, so this author, we don't know a whole lot about him, so we're not going to spend too much time, but he could have been a pagan king who his heart turned and he put his trust in the Lord. Mm-hmm. It's interesting because his name actually means belongs to God.
Oh, wow.
But interestingly enough, there are some people who believe that this could have been Solomon, actually with a, you know how sometimes an author will have a fake name that they publish under?
Yeah.
Well, some people believe that this might be King Solomon. But let's get started in this thing. Verse 2 and 3. It warns us of the dangers of sexual immorality. Mm-hmm. And we're not going to read the complete verses on some of these things, but as you're reading, you can look and see the full context. The second part of this says, nor your ways that leads to destroy kings. Mm-hmm. And the warning is about romantic obsession, sexual immorality. And the context is this, that this can be so strong and powerful that it can actually destroy a king. And we see a perfect illustration because look about King Solomon's dad, King David. Mm-hmm. He suffered tragedy because of his indiscretion. Yeah. And remember the story, King David had lust for Bathsheba, and it made him disregard justice. So what did he do? He set up Uriah, a person who was an honorable man, to be killed in battle. He made a plan, and his whole goal was so that he could have that man's wife. And in the end of the story, God judged him, and the kind of the takeaway is that sexual immorality can ruin any leader. Yes. And that's a strong warning.
It is, yeah.
And we think about what's happening in the world scene today, and it just is echoing even in 2025, 2026, that we can't play around with this fire.
Don't get caught in that narrow well.
That's right.
You're not going to be able to come out. There are other warnings here as we look through verse 4 through 7, warning a son of the danger of alcohol. Now, this warning in these scriptures is repeated 3 times for emphasis. So that's when you don't say it one time, it's something, but when you say it 3 times, it's like, okay, you know, this is important and you need to be careful with that because the main focus here is that it impairs your judgment. And as a king and a ruler, like we've been reading through the book of Proverbs, you know, there's a lot of warnings about alcohol and how you get out of control and you don't remember things. And that's an impairing of judgment type thing. And so she's saying basically stay away from alcohol so you can have good rulings as a king.
Anybody who's in a leadership role in your family, I mean, I agree. This really applies even to individuals. Mm-hmm. But I think as you move into higher levels of leadership, alcohol,
It's even more important.
yeah, it hurts more people,
Yeah.
right? Is the idea here. So in my heart, there is no room for alcohol. I think it's a danger. We already have enough difficulty with self-control. Why would I bring a substance in my body that helps me to lose control? So the next passage we're looking at, verses 8 and 9, talks about defending the defenseless who can't
speak up.
defend for themselves. It says, in the cause of all who are appointed to die, open your mouth, judge righteously, and plead the cause of the poor and needy. And takeaway is, justice isn't just for the wealthy, justice isn't just for the influential, but it is for all.
Yes.
And especially for the poor and needy, they need someone to stand up for them.
I love how we see the theme of this in the Bible about taking care of the poor and the needy. And even the disciples talked about this, just admonishing the believers to take care of the widow and the orphan, and how important that is. And God's heart is for those people. And it should be our heart too, to take care of them.
Yeah, so these first 9 verses basically deal with warnings so that a king can be wise and close the door on any corruption that would come in, whether it be through women, relationships, through alcohol, and through even allowing your elevated position to make you stop realizing why we do everything we do.
Yeah.
Right? And so now we're going to make a major shift in verses 10 through 31. And the writer of these verses, this is pretty cool, is this only happens a few times throughout the whole Bible. But the writer for each of these passages, the very beginning letter of each scripture, is successive letters in the Hebrew alphabet. So basically, it makes like the ABCs of wisdom.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I love that.
And the reason why they did this was because they wanted it to be easy to memorize. Like A is for apple, B is for bear. In this case, they had the letters in that order so that you could recall. These are things we want to be able to have handy. And so the first one, verse 10.
So verse 10 says, who can find a virtuous wife? For her worth is far above rubies.
Have you ever been compared to the Proverbs 31 woman?
I don't know.
I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
Or have you compared yourself to that?
Yes, sometimes I have, because as a woman, you read, how this lady looks, and you think about all these things that she's doing, and then you try to see how you can apply that to your own life and how that would work.
And I can tell you, a lot of times I hear feedback from this passage, and a lot of people feel overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Like, how do I reach this standard?
It's so high up there. Yeah.
Or maybe, and this is maybe a little touchy, but has a man ever kind of used this passage to, speak criticism to you? Why aren't you being a Proverbs 31 woman? And
I'm glad you never did that to me.
yeah, well,
yeah.
That's foolishness. But we're going to dig into this because we want to open your eyes so that you can see the heart of the Father in Proverbs 31, because he wants to show you some real rich treasures here.
Yes.
So this passage, if you just look at it for what it says verbatim, it's describing the wife that a Christian man should be praying for, and King Lemuel's mom is saying, this is what you should be looking for if you want to marry well.
Yeah.
But I do believe that God, as I was looking at this, it wasn't just meant to be a standard and saying, well, if you don't meet this standard, that you're a worthless wife or whatnot. These are ideals, and they're a guide, and they're to show us the kind of character that we can have. So we should be desiring
striving
this
for that character.
But listen, you shouldn't be condemned. We are all a work in progress, right?
Yes.
So I'm sure that many women have heard this so much that they actually are turned off by this passage. But I pray that as we go through this, that you're actually encouraged and strengthened and not discouraged by this.
Yes. So if this passage was solely for godly women only, then the next question we should ask would be, what Christian man would be worthy
That's good.
of and compatible with such a virtuous woman? I believe
Because there's a lot of men who would like to take advantage of a Proverbs 31 wife.
Yeah, but they're not walking in those characteristics themselves. And, it's for everybody. It really is. It's poetic, and it's a principle that, it's talking about a list of what it takes, to be a good wife. But let's look at this. Verse 10 mentions a virtuous wife. And this is translated as the excellent wife of Proverbs 12:4. But this same term is also applied to men and translated as mighty men of valor. Did you know that?
Yeah.
In 2 Kings 24:14, and this is the Hebrew word for virtuous. And it's competent men in Genesis 47:6, able men in Exodus 18:21.
Yeah, so it's the exact same word. And if it's in one part of the passage, which we're reading today, we've put a slant on there because it's applying to what King Lemuel's mom wants for her son. But this word isn't just a gender specific word.
Yeah.
It's saying a virtuous wife. It's saying a competent man, an able man, a man of mighty valor. So I love that. God isn't just looking
principle.
for a virtuous woman. He's looking for virtuous women and men.
Yes, that's good. And honestly, Adam and Eve, that's what it was in the beginning when they were ruling the garden together in God's perfect wisdom. Just think of the competent, capable,
Partnership.
excellent wisdom they had together. It was a partnership.
Yeah, so could we expand, as we're looking at the Proverbs 31 woman, could we expand the definition of a virtuous woman and see that God wants competent men and women? And so when we read about this relationship, we want to make sure, hey, are we living up to the standard too?
Yeah.
And then also, I want to tie this concept in. In the New Testament, Jesus is, referred to as the bridegroom, and he's coming back for a perfect, spotless bride.
And
Now,
that's the church.
who is that bride? It's the church. And so when he's talking about me and you, the Bible says he doesn't see male or female. He sees the bride.
Right.
And so when I'm looking in this passage, I'm looking at it like, how can I be the bride that Jesus wants me to be?
That's good.
So I want to be virtuous.
Yeah. So her worth is far above rubies, and precious gems like rubies are both valuable and they're rare. And it would be rare to find a woman who excels in every aspect of the list. So it should not be used to compare or condemn either oneself or another. So Ross said wisdom itself is also described as being more valuable than rubies in Proverbs 3, verse 15.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
he's not, in one passage, we're talking about a specific woman that he's looking for,
Another
but then
one, we're
this
talking about
same
wisdom.
thing is talking about just lady wisdom, right?
Lady wisdom. This is one reason why some think that this description of the virtuous wife found, in Proverbs 31 is more of a description of wisdom illustrated as a woman.
And since it's essentially about wisdom, its lessons should be for both men and for women to develop.
Yes.
So let's go on to verses 11 and 12. It says, her husband can trust her, and she will greatly enrich his life. I can tell you, when I married Amy, life got so much better. But that whole blessing side starts with one key piece, and that's trust.
Yes.
A spouse should be able to trust their mate. And relationships are built on this. That's the cornerstone. Trust is the key that builds integrity in our life, and it makes us trustworthy.
Yes.
It means I don't have to think about what you might do. You might hurt me, or you might spend the money in an unwise way, or you might do something foolish. No, when I can trust you, that means that we can both accomplish equally at the same time.
Yeah.
And we don't have to lose worry. We don't have to worry or have anxiety over this.
Yeah. It's interesting. It's in the first part of the description of the virtuous wife too, is, it first starts with trust.
Trust.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's like the beginning of everything.
And if we were making this vertical with God, our first part is this trust.
Trusting in God. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
So this relationship is going to greatly enrich my life because we both live in the wisdom of God. And that's going to cause God's blessing to flow in our life. And the blessing that's in my life is going to overflow to my mate, right?
Yeah.
And then in our partnership, it's going to overflow to our children. And then as we all are walking in this, it's going to bless our home. Yeah. But we can have the opposite of this, and that would be described as a foolish husband or a foolish wife. And what would that look like? You can't trust them. You have to monitor everything they do. And in some way, this person is going to be taking away from the home, whether it's emotionally, financially, materially. And we just don't want to be in that place.
No.
But is there anything more beautiful? Think about this. Is there anything more beautiful than having absolute trust in somebody? That's huge. It means that you can be confident of their love, you can be confident in their care and their fidelity, that they are completely committed to you.
That's awesome. Verse 11, she brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. So a virtuous spouse does good and not evil, and they continue to be a blessing all the days of their life. They're consistent.
Amen.
And consistency is key. That's a good statement right there. That's a good indicator of a person, how they live their life is by what they are constant in. You see them doing it over and over again. And that brings a lot of, I think, peace to the other partner as well.
Next thing is in verses 13 through 16. And this is kind of getting into the spot where a lot of people start saying, well, I don't do some of these things. My life doesn't look quite like this. So, but let's get into it. Don't get turned off yet, because there's some really good stuff in here. Verse 13 says, she finds wool and flax, and she busily spins it. Now,
I don't know how to spin wool and flax.
Yeah, I don't either. But let's just take this like this. Remember, there's a lot of poetic images. Well, we don't have to spin our own clothes and all this today, right? But this is a good example of somebody who is busy and has a hard-working character, right? She has purpose in her days.
Yeah. So, a woman would complete each of these tasks every day or week or even month. You would be exhausted probably and be discouraged. So it's not really like, it does sound impossible of, spinning wool and flax every day and, some of these other things we're going to talk about, but it's just the principle here of being busy in the right kind of way, because we're going to be doing something, but what are you doing with your time? And, she is like busy, making stuff, that's important for her life and for her family.
Yeah. And really what this means is that you're thinking about all these things that she's associated with doing. And what it means is not that she's doing all those things every day, but it kind of represents how managing a household has many different pieces, many different parts, many different jobs. And the good news is that God sees and he understands it's a big job.
Right. I love seeing all like my friends who have planners, and some of them have, every like this massive book, and they write down all these things out. And I'm like, man, I need to learn from that, because managing a household, it's a big job. But it's something that can be done well. And when it is done well, then your whole family is blessed.
Yeah. And it says that she's seeking wool and flax. And simple takeaway is that a good spouse is always seeking what is needed or missing in the family.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, Johnny, you have a hole in your sock. Better get some cotton and make you a sock.
I think it's our day and age. We thank God we got Walmart.
Better go to Walmart and order you some socks.
But we also have the second part of that is that she's willing to work with her hands.
Yeah.
And willingness is such a key piece in relationship. Mm-hmm. She works in the simple and practical ways to bless her family and home. Mm-hmm. And she believes when it's all done, there's a sense of joy because she's done it in the love of the family.
Yeah.
And so God is that way with us. Think about Jesus endured the cross because he loved us.
Mm. So verses 14 and 15 say, she is like a merchant ship bringing her food from afar. She gets up before dawn to prepare breakfast for her household and plan the day's work for her servant girls. So a merchant's ship ensures that food is available if required. And she even rises while it's yet night to either get up and prepare food for her household. And I love this part where it talks about a portion for her maidservants, and it shows that she has help. It's not just all her doing this, but, she's got a staff to help her. And that's through her wisdom is, grabbing those people to help her.
Right. And
accomplish her tasks.
I do believe when it talks about rising up while it's still night means that if it's necessary.
Yeah.
Like think about when we've had kids that have been sick in the middle of the night and we just get up and do what we need to do.
Right, right.
And
that shows a lot of unselfishness too.
Right. The next part is verse 16. It says that she goes to inspect a field and buys it with her earnings, and she plants a vineyard. So she's always looking for a way to make a better future for her family. And she can manage big decisions. Mm-hmm. I love that. Mm-hmm. And in the end, there's this beautiful picture of a vineyard, which represents that all that hard work is going to have a harvest.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. That's the whole goal. We're not just toiling and slaving. Man, we have a bright future for our family.
Yes. Verse 17 through 20 shows her strength and compassion. Verse 17 says, she is energetic and strong, a hard worker. She girds herself with strength. And some say the idea of girding oneself is setting a strengthening belt around the midsection.
Like a weightlifter.
Yeah, but this could mean she takes care of her own health and strength by exercising and being healthy. And then verse 18 says, she makes sure her dealings are profitable. Her lamp burns late into the night. So she is wise and experienced enough to get good deals for her home. She is a good steward. She cuts those coupons out, has enough oil to run her lamps as long as she needs, has enough money to pay her electric bill as long as she needs.
Yeah. She knows how to use what she has.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people read that passage up above saying that her lamp burns late into the night as if, she's getting up early and she's working late. I think.
And she didn't get any sleep.
No, I don't think that's what this is saying. I think this is saying
a cranky woman.
That
not a
she has the fuel in her lamps to do whatever she needs to do.
Yeah.
And so that's a relief, right? Let's look at verse 19. It says, her hands are busy spinning thread, her fingers twisting fiber. And I have a hard time finding a real great takeaway here, but I'll just say this.
That knitting, crocheting.
Yeah, we don't have to all learn how to do the something not. Miss Carol probably could teach you. But the virtuous wife knows how to use the tools and technology available to manage her home well. And I look at it this way, there might be an easier way to do something.
Yeah.
Right? So we don't have to just do it the hard way.
Not harder.
Yeah. She extends a helping hand to the poor and opens her arms to the needy. Mm-hmm. It talks about how she is a compassionate person, not just for her own house, not just for her kids, but she cares about the community. She cares about the poor and the needy.
Mm-hmm. Verse 21, she has no fear of winter for her household.
I love this.
For everyone has warm clothes. And isn't that like what every woman really wants to do is to make sure their family eats food and has warm clothes in the winter, especially PC. I'm constantly like, put your beanie on, PC. Put your nice jacket on because you're so cold all the time. But it's basically saying she's readied her household for all kinds of challenges and adversity. Like she's prepared.
That's right.
When hurricane season comes, she's got those candles and she's got those snacks. And she's like, okay, everybody's safe. We're all here together. Let's eat snacks and light the candles and tell stories because we're prepared, right?
Yeah, I remember back when we were young, we had Hurricane Katrina come through. And I remember it was, I think it was Katrina, but it was one of the hurricanes, and it hit real close.
Yeah.
And we ended up going to Pastor Jenny's house,
Yeah.
and we had pancakes being cooked over a
Campfire
propane
grill.
in the laundry room. I think it was.
So it was great.
Yeah. So you
pancakes
can,
and ham.
If we are a Proverbs 31 person, then we're doing preparation. So when things get challenging, we can still enjoy and know we're going to be taken care of.
Right. And just remember too, this is this whole passage here is reflecting the wisdom
of God.
Of God, that creative wisdom that happens when God created the world, that perfect, wisdom that we read about in the beginning of the Bible. This is what this is looking like here in the virtuous woman.
And we're going to end it right here because when we get into this tomorrow, we're going to start talking about some other things like, well, what is true beauty? So we're excited about this. We've heard some warnings from her mom to the king. She's advised him about what it looks like for the woman that he should have for his future wife. The qualities are all linked with Lady Wisdom and the wisdom of God. But these are things not just for the ladies to hear.
Right.
This is something we should all strive for.
So tomorrow will be part 2 of Proverbs 31. So take time to read through this passage tonight and just get that word inside of you. And so we can let the Holy Spirit speak to us tomorrow. And we're going to end it on a good note, right?
It's going to be a party.
All right. See you then. Bye, family.
God bless.